And I'll let the people joining the video know that we are going to start with foot massage. So if you would like to find yourself some lotion or some oil to put on your feet to do that, you can, but then you'd need to have something also to dab it off with, like a paper towel when you're done, so that you're not slippery. So we're going to begin. You can start sitting in a chair. You can, you could sit on a couch, you could sit on your bed, or you could sit on the floor. If you're sitting on the floor and you want to sit up on something, you can do that. I might just sit on a chair because then it might be easier for you to see what I'm doing. So we're going to start with one foot. And if you have some oil or some lotion, you might want to put it on your hands, warm it up a little bit. And then I want you to just use your hands, use your thumbs primarily, and we're just going to start to work the bottom surface of our foot with a goal really here of kind of softening up the bottom surface of the foot. And any position you want to get into so that you can access the bottom of your foot. You might find a different way of sitting that allows you to do this. But as you are working the bottom surface of your foot, I'd like you to look at it and pay attention, focus your attention on what you're doing. And perhaps your feet are kind of dry and they're not maybe as beautiful as they were when you were 10. But as you're working your feet, maybe take some time to just be glad that you have feet. And how fortunate we are that these feet have been with us our whole lives. Just think of all the places we've been on these feet, where they've taken us. And notice that this is a part of you. Your feet are a part of you. And you're fortunate. We can have gratitude for our feet, right? You might want to kind of squeeze the heel. You might have other things you want to do with your feet, but just kind of work your feet with a sense of appreciation, kindness, and even maybe love. Can we love our feet? Can we love ourselves? So we're just going to spend a few more moments here kind of working that bottom surface of that foot. And then we're going to change feet. So put that foot down, take the other foot, and do the same thing. Focus your attention on your foot and begin to soften it up. Just kind of work. You can kind of soften the toes a little bit. We'll do something else with the toes momentarily. So for right now, we're just kind of working that bottom surface of the foot with our thumbs. And as we're working our feet, I'm wondering if you can bring into your mind's eye the image of yourself when you were a child. You might be a 5-year-old child, a 10-year-old child. Just bring into your mind the image of yourself when you were a child. Maybe you need to close your eyes to do that. That's fine. And as you see that image of yourself as a child, can you hold yourself in your awareness with a great deal of love and compassion for the person you were as a child? Working your foot, but just like you're offering love and kindness to your feet. Just hold that image of yourself with love and kindness. And then bring to your mind's eye the image of yourself when you were a young adult. So it might be just after high school or just after college or just starting out as a young adult. And can you hold that image of yourself in your mind's eye and offer that person that you were at that point in your life just a whole bunch of love and compassion for the person you were at that age? And it might have been easy to offer love to yourself as a child. And then maybe it was easy to offer love to yourself as a young adult. Maybe that was a little more challenging. But now, for this next hour, we're going to hold ourselves in our awareness. And we're going to try and offer love and kindness to ourselves at this stage of our life. So finish up with this foot, with softening the bottom surface of this foot. And then go back to your first foot. We're going to pick up the first foot. We're going to whirligig the toes. So we're going to grab the base of the big toe and the base of the second toe, right here where the toe is attached to the foot. And we're going to crank them around each other. We're going to kind of twist one around the other and then twist the other around. So you're kind of circling them around each other. You're not holding the tips of the toes. You're holding the base of the toes and you're pulling them around circularly, one around the other and then the other around the other. Those first two toes. And the goal here is to get the toe bones kind of moving, create a little more mobility in the foot. And then grab your second toe and your third toe right close to the foot and kind of pull them around each other. I sometimes call this cranking the toes. When I was taught this technique, it was called whirligigging the toes. So you're kind of moving them around each other so that these bones in the foot are moving a little bit with the movement of the toes, because those toe bones continue way back into your foot. And then grab the next two toes and whirligig them around each other. Create a lot of movement here. Because sometimes, you know, our toes don't move that much. They're kind of stuck in our shoes or boots. Or, you know, we've been fortunate. We've been home a lot. So maybe you've been wearing slippers. So maybe your feet have had a little more freedom than they would if you were in shoes and boots all the time. But still, our toes don't often get to move a lot. Grab the last two toes and crank them around each other, encouraging some movement in the foot. Nice. All right, finishing up, we're going to do the other foot. So I didn't say, if you have the oil, obviously, you might be adding some as you go, as you started that second foot. So first two toes, your big toe, your second toe, we're going to crank them around each other. And so again, we're focusing on what we're doing. We're doing something nice for ourselves. And it's okay to be nice to ourselves. A lot of us are caregivers, mothers, and we're so used to caring for others. It's good to care for ourselves. All right, next two toes. We know the importance of being kind to others. We sometimes forget the importance of being kind to ourselves. And so yoga is a great opportunity to practice that. Let's take the next two toes. And this act of touch, like we haven't been able to receive touch from loved ones. So this becomes even more important, that we are able to offer ourselves love and touch. Because a lot of us haven't gotten a lot of hugs lately. Let's take the last two toes now and move them around each other. Maybe starting to feel a little more mobility in your foot, hopefully, ideally. Great. All right. We're going to do one final technique. And for this one, feet are going to be on the floor. I'm going to move back a little bit so you can see. We're just going to kind of press into the grooves of the top of the foot. You can use your thumbs, you can use your fingers, but just find the groove between your big toe and your second toe and press down and away. This feels a lot nicer if you have lotion or something. So if it doesn't feel great, you don't have to do it too much. But see if you can just kind of slide your hands down, slide your finger in between that groove, between like the next two toes. Just do a few strokes down in the groove between the toe bones, from like the middle of your foot out to your toes. Just 2 or 3 or 4 strokes, and then kind of make your way. So there's 4 grooves between your 5 toes, and you're pressing down in a way. And then just do that on the other foot when you're ready. And press down in a way. If you have lotion, you have a lot of time, you can kind of press in and pull out. That's another way of doing this technique. So either way, just kind of work and free up the top of the foot here. A lot of times it's believed that working the top of the foot can free up tension in your upper back. So you might notice if there's a relationship there for you. And then eventually you're going to have cleaned out all your gutters. We call this cleaning out the gutters. And then when you're done with that, just take a moment, close your eyes, and just notice how you feel. All right. So we're going to make our way to lying down. So transition now to lying down on your mat with your feet on the floor. And as you lie down with your feet on the floor, really notice the feeling of your feet. They might feel maybe a little more alive. And they're kind of, the surface of the foot is more awake. So maybe it can feel that contact more readily than it would otherwise if we hadn't just worked the foot. And then notice the feeling of the rest of your body as you lie down. And I want us now to really focus our awareness on our breathing. We're going to spend some time this morning trying to just focus on our breath and nothing else. So bring your awareness to the feeling of your breath moving into your body and releasing out of your body. And see if you can let your mind be only on the action of your breath. Your mind might want to think about something else. That's quite natural. And in that moment of noticing that your mind is thinking about something else, I want you very kindly, gently, to bring your awareness back to your breathing. Maybe your focus is really well on your breathing. Or maybe your mind is really wandering. And either way is fine. If your mind is wandering, just kindly, gently bring your focus back to your breathing. This is our practice right now. Just bringing ourselves back to our singular focus, which is now our breathing. And if our mind wanders, can we bring it back without any criticism? Just a loving reminder to come back to the breathing. So this is our practice to be kind to ourselves. So we're going to start our movement practice soon. And in the same way as we're doing this movement practice, can we be kind to ourselves? As we're moving, can we offer ourselves encouragement and instruction? And, you know, let's say we lose our balance or something. Can we offer ourselves kindness rather than criticism if we maybe can't do something in the way that we think is optimal? So this morning's practice is about being kind to ourselves. So when you're ready, with your next breath in, you can open your eyes. We're going to take our feet off the floor and let's hug knees into chest. Give them a nice hug. Imagine you're hugging your pet or your loved one. I'm going to give your knees a hug, sway a little bit side to side. Breathe. So you're hugging yourself now. Much needed hugs. Then we'll sway center. Let's lift our legs up in the air. Take the arms down initially, just alternate flexing and pointing the feet. And then circle at the ankles in one direction and in the other. And then reach your arms up to the ceiling. Drop your shoulders back. Let's take our arms overhead so your thumbs reach back. As your arms go overhead, maybe your up mid-back kind of arched up or your ribs popped up toward the ceiling. We're going to keep the arms overhead. We're going to take a breath in. And as we exhale, I want you to knit your low ribs in and down so that the ribs aren't popped up. They're kind of knitted into the belly. We're going to take another breath. And as we exhale, I want you to push out through your heels a little bit. And then I want you to notice your low back. There might be a little bit of curve in your low back. Your low back might be flat, but I want you to very slowly begin to take your heels away from you. And I want you to notice what happens in your low back as your legs very slowly move away from you. Your back was probably fairly flat on the floor, and as your legs move more and more away from you, your back wants to begin to arch. And so we have a neutral curve in our low back, a little curve in the low back that's different for each of us. And we can let the low back arch maybe that little bit. But if the back starts to lift up and kind of really arch up, at that point I want you to draw your knees in. And so everybody's different in how far they're going to go. So just kind of play around with how far you might go. You might be hugging your knees in. Let's, you know, each take our own time and space for that. And then we'll hug the knees in, or we'll bring the knees in. Now let's lift our heads up and clasp our hands under our head. And we're going to take a breath in. As we exhale, we'll curl up. So we're going to knit the ribs and curl up, head, neck, and shoulders. I want you to extend your right leg forward and then twist across, elbow towards the opposite knee. Bring the knee back, inhale, release the head back. We'll curl up, extend the left leg out, and then twist across, elbow toward the knee. And then bring the knee in and lower back. So we're going to curl up, extend the right leg and twist across, and then come back and down. We'll curl up, extend the left leg and twist across, and come back and down. So just continue this sort of bicycling, twisting process here. And as you twist across, rather than just thinking about elbow to knee, can you start to think about rib towards the opposite thigh? So you twist your rib cage, the left side of your rib cage towards your right thigh, or the right side of your rib cage towards your left thigh. Let's do a few more of these. And your legs can be on a lower angle or a higher angle, whatever feels better for you. Let's do a few more of these. So if we twist from the rib cage, it can help us to keep from pulling on the head. We're twisting the midsection and the head comes around. All right. Let's do one more on each side. And then when you're ready, you can release your feet to the floor, release your head onto your hands. Let's take our arms out and we're going to roll to the side and make our way around to all fours. Of course, you can kneel on a blanket if that would be better for you. Let's get nice and square here. And you might want to shift your weight around a little bit so that you feel really grounded through your hands, nice and long in your spine. And then by request of Shirley's cat, let's do cat pose. So we're going to drop our tailbone down and start to round through the back, round all the way through your low back, your mid back, your upper back. Let your head drop down. So you feel that nice rounded flexed spine. From here, maybe shift your hips a little side to side. Maybe shift your hips back a little bit. Maybe shift your weight back to shoulders right over wrists. You might move your shoulders a little side to side. And then just make your way back to your long flat back. And we'll start to move into cow pose. So we'll start to tip the tailbone up. Let the belly and the chest kind of drop down. Draw your heart forward, look forward. Nice extended arched back here. Again, you might move your shoulders a little bit. You might move your hips a little bit. Just kind of little movements perhaps, or maybe you just want to hold this static pose here. And then come back to your flat back. Let's just flow between those two movements one more time in any way that feels nice for your body. Rounding. And then making your way into extension. Nice. And then coming back to flat back. So if your wrists need a little break, you might shake it out a little bit here. And then come back onto your all fours. I want you to take one leg back and the opposite arm forward. And we're going to hold this spinal balance for a moment. So we're going to press out through the heel. Reach long with the arm. Your thumb could be up, your palm turned inward. We're going to take a breath here. And then I want you to bend the knee, bring the knee in, bring the elbow in, lift up in your belly, and move towards elbow touching knee. It doesn't necessarily have to touch, but move in that direction. And then reach that arm and leg out. And take a breath. And then bring elbow into knee and lift up in the belly. Exhale here. Inhale as you reach out. Couple more. Bring the elbow in, bring the knee in, lift up in the belly. As you extend the leg out, keep that belly supporting the low back. Couple more. Hug in, lift up, and reach out. Breathe in. Exhale. Hug in, lift up, reach out. Let me do two more. Bring the knee in, bring the elbow in, lift up in the belly. Reach out. Last one. Hug in. Reach out long. Hold here for a breath. And then release that hand, release that knee. Let's do the other side. So the other leg goes back. The other arm goes forward. Press out through your heel. Reach out through your hand. Make sure you're not letting your belly drop. Keep your low back supported here. Take a breath. And then we're going to bring that elbow in toward the knee. Lift up in the belly. And then reach out long. Breathe in. Exhale, hug in. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hug in. As you reach out, really press back through the heel. Fire up that leg. Again, hug in, lift up. Reach out long. Breathe. Two more. Hug in, lift up. Inhale, reach out long. Last one. Hug in, lift up. Reach out long. Hold here for a breath, really long and strong. And then release your hand, release your knee. We're going to sit back into child's pose. So take your hips back, sit back on your heels, let your spine round, let your forehead find the floor or your arms or something. Breathe in and out. Then lift your head up, take your arms out in front. Take your right hand over to the right side of your mat, and then place your left hand on top of your right. And then your head can be right between your arms. Take your hips over to the left now and a little bit back so that you're getting a bigger stretch in the left side of your waist and your arm. And then with your head between your arms, can you rotate your chest a little towards, maybe towards your device or towards the wall away from your device, and then back to center, and then rotate the other way. So you're just moving, you're rotating your torso. Come back. So your shoulders face the floor, and then your shoulders, one lifts up and kind of rotates, and then your shoulders face the floor, and then your shoulders kind of rotate the other way. And then back down. Great. Separate your arms. Take your left hand to the left side of your mat. Place your right palm on top. Take your hips away from that, over to the right. Have your head, your ears right between your arms. And then again, rotate your chest towards your device. And then rotate it back towards the floor. And then rotate your chest away from the device. And then back toward the floor. Try that again. Just a little spinal rotation here. And then back down. And then the other way. A little different way to stretch out the shoulders here. All right. Take both arms out in front. Set up for a downward facing dog. And then transition to downward facing dog. So as we come here, really rooting through the hands, pressing down, feeling fingers and thumbs. As your hips are up in the air, just let the weight of your head dangle down off of your spine. Shake your head a little bit, free up your neck. Let's bend a knee and pedal a heel to the floor. And then do that on the other side. And if there's some other movement your body's craving, maybe move your hips a little, your shoulders, whatever feels good, do it now. We're really connecting with how this movement feels and offering ourselves kindness, offering ourselves what we need, what we like here. And then let's go ahead and bend both knees a bit and draw the hips way up and back. Take a deep breath in and then sigh it out. Do that again. Deep breath in. And a big letting go here. Great. Then walk your hands back towards your feet. Lower your heels. End up folded over here. Nice and loose. Take a big breath into your upper back. Allow the breath to empty. And then draw your belly in and roll yourself up. Taking some time. Kind of stack yourself vertebra upon vertebra. Feel your feet planted as you roll yourself up. Eventually, allow your head to come up. Let's roll our shoulders forward and up and back and down. And then ground down through the feet to stand tall. Let's reach the arms out wide, really spreading them out. And as we ground down, let's reach the arms up, lifting ribs and shoulders, palms facing fingertips to the sky, heart lifts up, big breath. And then we'll exhale our arms back down. Great. All right, let's turn towards our device. We're going to just have our feet beneath us. I want you to reach your arms out again. Big breath here. And then sweep your arms down, maybe right arm under left. And give yourself a hug. So grab onto your shoulders, and I want you to hug yourself in a way that, like, many of us haven't received a lot of hugs lately. So like a really long, over-deserved hug. Like you're so glad to see yourself. You might sway a little bit here. You might like rub, like, oh, so good to see you. So good to hold you. Just give yourself a warm hug. And as you're doing that, you can connect with your breath. You might close your eyes here now. As your next breath empties, you can release that hug. So that time, maybe your right arm was under your left. We're going to do the other way. Take a breath in as you reach out. This time, left arm under right. So you're just changing the way you cross. And again, grab on. And again, maybe close your eyes and just feel how it feels to be hugged, to be held, to receive this feeling of love, kindness, just happiness to be with yourself. Breathe. All right, release your arms. Shake it out a little bit. Let's take our feet a little wider. We'll do sumo. So heels a little wider than hips, toes turned out. Start to take your hips back. Start to take your knees forward. Knees going out in the direction of the toes. Ankles are bending, knees are bending, hips sticking back. When the hips go back, we kind of sometimes straighten the knees. So can you have your hips back, put your knees forward? So there's kind of an opening here with this action. When the hips go back, there's a widening between the sitting bones. There's an opening here. So as we make our way into our sumo squat, let's try lifting the heels a little bit off the floor. Let's try lifting the heels up high off the floor. A little balance challenge here. If you need to grab a chair, you can. Can we lower the heels slowly for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. Let's try that again. Lift the heels up high and slowly lower. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's okay if you wobble. This time, lift your heels just a teeny bit. Feel them just barely grazing the mat. And with that little bit of heel raise, let's straighten the legs. Slowly. The heels can come down. We're going to do that again. Hips back, knees forward. We're going to lift the heels ever so slightly. So they're just barely contacting the mat. And with that little bit of heel raise, we're going to straighten the legs slowly. Working up the pelvic floor there. Great. All right, let's make our way over to the front of our mats. And feel our feet rooting down as a way to stand tall. So grounding down to straighten up. Yeah. As you ground down and straighten up, can you just feel your spine kind of aligning? It's got its natural curves, but we're in this nice upright posture. The head is over the shoulders. So often our head is pitched forward, our shoulders are rounded. Just enjoy how it feels to stand nice and open and upright. And then when you're ready, take your arms out. Breathe in and reach your arms up. Maybe lift your heart and look up. As we exhale, let's swan dive forward. Folding over, knees soft. We'll bring our hands to the floor. Let's step back to downward facing dog. Take your hips up and back as you breathe in. We'll exhale and lower to straight arm plank. Nice and long and strong here. Push into the floor, firm up your arms, press back through your heel. Notice where your hips are in your mind's eye. Can you feel your hips in relation to your ankles and your shoulders? And if you feel like your hips are a little higher, maybe drop them down a bit. If you feel like your hips are a little lower, maybe lift them up a little bit. If it feels challenging, maybe think about lifting them a centimeter so there's a little more support. Take a breath here. And then let your knees come down and lower your chest into the mat. Find your prone mountain here. Let your chest sink. Let your nose almost graze the mat. So that chin is kind of rotated in. The nose is hovering barely off the mat. The crown of the head extending forward. Let's inhale up to baby cobra. So we lift the chest, pull the heart forward, and then we'll exhale back down. Let's do that again. Inhale up to baby cobra. And as we're here, we'll lift our hands, lift the elbows, hug the elbows in, wake up the upper back. Then release the hands, release the chest. This time, hands staying down. We'll inhale up to baby cobra. We might stay here, or we might continue to pull the heart forward and come up a bit higher into cobra. And then we'll exhale back down. Let's push up to knees. Curl the toes under and lift the knees, and then lift the hips up and back to down dog. We'll breathe in and out here. Looking a little forward, let's step our feet up towards our hands, planting our feet beneath us. And then we'll sweep our arms out. Inhale and rise up, reach up. And exhale our arms down at our side. We'll do that again. Inhale, take your arms out and up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Bring your hands to the floor, step back to downward facing dog. Take a breath here. Exhale and lower to straight arm plank. Take a breath here. Now we're going to try a little bend in the elbows. You might drop your knees down if you'd like, but can you bend the elbows a bit and have them pointing back toward your heels without letting your hips lower down? Lift them a centimeter maybe. Take another breath and then lower yourself all the way down into your mat. From your prone mountain, inhale up to baby cobra or cobra. And exhale back down. And then make your way up and back to downward facing dog. Let's breathe in and out here. From here, we're going to come into a right foot forward lunge. So you could drop to the knees and step the right foot forward, or lift your right leg up in the air. And then just like before, we bent the knee and hugged it in the belly. Do that, step that foot forward into lunge. So we all make our way to a right foot forward low lunge. Let those hips sink down. See if you can get that back heel off the floor and pointing straight back. You might look at it there. Your feet are hip distance apart. We're going to press into the front foot and inhale and straighten up. So the front leg will straighten, your chest comes up, hands on your hips, hips square to the front of your mat. Let's take a breath here. And as we exhale, we're going to bend the front knee forward. We're going to push the foot down, inhale and straighten that front leg. Exhale and bend the front knee forward. Inhale and straighten the front leg. The tendency here might be to lean forward, but we're trying to stay more or less upright. You might lean a little bit, but we're not going all the way forward. So let's bend and straight one more time. And then the next time the front knee is bent, pause there. So we want a little tone in the belly, supporting the low back. The knee and shin are going forward. The heel is pressing back. The heart can lift up here. Let's drop our arms down, reach them out, and then inhale, arms up toward the ceiling. Shoulders and legs lift as we stretch up. Big breath. As we exhale, we're going to lean forward and come down, fingertips to the floor. Now you might need to drop on your back knee. I want you to place your left hand on the floor. Take your right arm out to the side. We're going to inhale and reach that right arm up toward the ceiling. Now the right knee might drop out to the side. Hug the right knee in as you press down to lift up and take a breath. And then bring that hand down. Step back to downward facing dog. You might need to go to your knees to transition first. That's fine. Take a breath in and out here. Then we're going to do the other side. So you might drop to the knees and step the left foot forward, or lift the left leg up with a breath. Bend that knee, hug it in, lift up, step that foot forward and through into your low lunge. See if you can get your hips down a bit here. So you're in a low lunge. Back heel is lifted, pointing straight back, feet are hip distance apart. Let's push into the front foot. Inhale and rise up. Bring hands to hips, square the hips to that short front line of your mat. Take a breath in. Exhale and bend your front knee forward. Push that foot down, inhale and straighten. Exhale and bend. Inhale and straighten. Couple more. Exhale and bend. Inhale and straighten. Really working from the grounding of that front foot. Supporting this movement. The next time the knee is bent, pause here. Press that knee and shin forward, press back through the heel. Let's lift the heart, drop the arms, reach them out. Inhale and reach them up. Nice big lift. Exhale, lean forward, hands to the floor. Right foot is on the floor. Right hand is on the floor. Left arm comes out to the side. Let's inhale that arm up. Hug that left knee in. Take a breath. And then bring that hand down. Step back to downward facing dog. Breathe in and out here. Exhale and lower to straight arm plank. Take a breath here. Exhale, little bend in the elbows. Take another breath here. Exhale, lower all the way down. Rolling mountain. Great. Let's come up onto our forearms. Get our elbows right beneath our shoulders. We're going to press down with the forearms to lift the chest. Let's curl the toes under, lift the hips. We could be on our knees in a kneeling forearm plank, or we can lift our knees up. We're going to just try and hold this plank position, and we can either hold just like this, or you might just try rotating your hips just a little, and then back to center, rotating them a little bit the other way, and then back to center. It's a little movement, like the one hip kind of lifts up, back to center, the other hip kind of lifts up, back to center. Just a couple more of these. Back to center, rotate, back to center. One more time each side. Back to center, rotate, center. Hold for a breath. Nice work. And then you can lower all the way down. Take your elbows wide. Let your head rest on your hands. Let's press the tops of the feet down, press the front of the hips down, and lift the legs up. The legs are up. They're reaching back through the toes. Could you lift them a bit higher? Hug the heels in towards the midline. Then separate the legs. Hug the heels in towards the midline. And then separate. One more time. Hug your heels in. And then separate. Lift them up. Take a breath. And then lower them down. Now take your arms and reach them out like a V. And for now, the legs can stay down. We're going to inhale. Well, what do we do first? First, I want you to lift your chest up, lift your arms a little bit off the floor, and then hug your elbows into your waist. Kind of squeeze your elbows into your waist. You're kind of squeezing your upper back. And as you do that, I want you to lift up a little higher. Pull your heart forward. And then lower down. So arms out like a V. You're hovering your head close to the floor. We're going to inhale and lift the chest up, lift the arms, and then hug the arms in towards your waist. And then reach the arms out as you lower down. We can do that just the upper body, or you can add a leg lift as well. So we're going to lift the chest, lift the legs, lift the arms, hug in, squeeze into your waist, and then reach the arms out and lower down. Again, lift up, reach out, and then hug in, and then reach out, and then lower down. Two more like that. Inhale up, squeeze in, you can exhale. Inhale out, exhale down. One more time. Inhale up, exhale, squeeze in, maybe lift a little higher. Inhale, reach out, exhale down. Good work. Bring your hands next to chest. Let's push all the way back to child's pose. So push back to knees, take your hips back, sit back on your heels, support your head. You might stack one fist on the other, your head rests on your hands, your head on the floor. Take a moment here, check in, give yourself a little love, a little encouragement, a little support, a little kindness. Really appreciate yourself for sticking with it this morning. And then on your next in-breath, lift your head up, reach your arms out, make your way to downward facing dog. Breathe in and out here. Let's walk our hands back towards our feet, lowering the heels down, ending up folded over. Let's bend the knees and lower the hips, sweep the arms out in front, sit back in your low chair, and then reach your arms up and overhead. Breathe in and out here. And then push into your feet and legs. Inhale and rise up, reach up. And then exhale, arms down at your side. Nice job. All right, coming back to facing our mat, let's take a wide stance. We'll turn the left foot in, or no, we'll turn the right foot in, turn the left foot out. Hands can go to hips. Let's bend the front knee. So we bend the knee, we get that knee over the foot, we have this back foot angling in, have the weight solidly grounded into both feet. We'll bring our hands to heart. And can we keep the legs just as they are, but rotate the chest towards your device or towards the long line of your mat? Yeah. Let's inhale, arms up. Exhale and reach the arms out. You might gaze over that front line here. Can you broaden the chest, broaden between the shoulder blades? As the spine rises up, take a breath. As you exhale, tip your hips over, bring that forearm on the front thigh. Sweep the arm from behind, up and overhead, alongside your cheek rib here, thumb up, pinky down. Let's roll the belly and chest under the arm to look towards your device. Reach long with that arm and breathe. And then sweep that arm down. Sweep it back behind you. Inhale and rise up to proud warrior. Reach out. And then exhale, arms down. Great. Straighten that front leg. Turn the feet forward. And then turn that back foot in. Turn the right foot out. Hands on hips. Go ahead and just bend that front knee. Find your nice warrior stance. Your hips are dropped down, level. This back foot is angled in. Feel the whole foot. Feel the whole front foot. We'll bring our hands to heart. Keeping the legs, don't let the legs move. Just let your upper body move. Bring your chest so it's aligned. Your shoulders are aligned with this long line of your mat. Then inhale, arms up. And exhale, arms reaching out wide. Great. Again, can you create space from shoulder blade to shoulder blade? From shoulder to shoulder, from shoulder blade to shoulder blade. Spine rises up, we take a breath. As you exhale, tip your hips over, forearm on the front thigh. Sweep that back arm up and overhead, thumb up, pinky down, reach long. Can you roll the belly and chest under that arm towards where you're looking? Take a breath here, reach from that outer heel out through the top fingertips, and then sweep that arm down, reach it behind, inhale and rise up, and then exhale. Relax your arms, straighten that front leg, turn that foot in, and we can walk our feet together, we can jump our feet together. Let's come down onto the floor. We're going to sit with our feet together in bound ankle pose. So with your feet together, you might be holding your ankles. You might bring your arms behind. You might sit up on something to keep you from rolling back. So in what way can you be rooting through your sitting bones and sitting up tall? Find a way to do that. And then begin to press your feet into each other. Push them together so that you fire up your inner thigh muscles a bit. But by doing so, and take a breath. And then you can let go of pushing your feet together. Now try pushing your knees away from each other so that they move wider apart. So you're kind of working your outer hips with that action. And take a breath. And then do both those things. Try to press your feet in as you push your knees out. Action and resistance. Lots of work here. Take a breath. And then let that effort go. We can bring the knees in and straighten the legs out, shake it out a little bit. Let's now turn so that we can lower down onto our backs. We're going to make our way all the way down. And we're going to set our feet up for bridge pose. So heels under the knees, feet hip distance apart, arms at your side. I want you to feel your sacrum, your low back on the floor. And then just start to lift your tailbone, lift your sacrum, start to curl up your lower vertebrae. a little bit slowly, gradually off the floor until you just feel your low ribs on the floor. And then roll back out of that. So you're just doing a really little low bridge, just activating the lumbar vertebrae. Come back down onto your sacrum, take a breath. Start the same way. Curl up your tailbone, your sacrum, your lower vertebrae, so you get to where your ribs begin. And then continue peeling up one rib at a time. Start starting to come to your mid-back. And then just continuing till you bring your weight up onto your shoulders. As you come up into this higher bridge, think about knees and shins forward, feet pressing down, hips lifting up. Take a breath when you're up as high as feels right for you. And then slowly, gradually lower yourself back down. So just really nice spinal articulation here. Taking your time to release vertebra by vertebra by vertebra. Slowly, gradually, incrementally releasing until you're all the way down. When you're all the way down, just take a nice relaxing breath in and out. Let's take our feet off the floor and give ourselves another hug. And can you keep your knees in close, but drop your arms open to the side? Take a breath in. As you exhale, let your knees drop over towards your device. Can you stack your top knee on your bottom knee? And then reach that arm behind you back. Take your gaze up toward the ceiling or look back at that arm behind you. If your knees don't stay stacked, your hands can kind of hold them there. And then breathe in and out here. Nice deep breaths. Feel that deep breath flowing in. Let that breath empty all the way out. You can blow it out if you like. One more round of breath in and out. Once that breath is released all the way out, you can lift the top knee up, lift the bottom knee up. When your knees come back to center, have them close to your body, and then let them drop all the way over to the other side, stacking one knee on top of the other, and then reaching back with that arm behind you, looking up or back towards that arm behind you, and then deep breathing here. Feel the breath move in. Feel the breath releasing and emptying all the way out. Let that exhale be a letting go. One more full deep round of breath. In and out. And then after that breath is empty, lift the top knee, lift the bottom knee. You can give them one more hug. And then we're going to transition to our final relaxation. So if it's cool where you are, take a moment to put on some socks or cover up with a blanket. You might want to put a pillow or something under your head. You might want to put something under your knees. Taking a little time now to get as comfortable as possible so that when you lie back with your legs extended this time, it feels nice. There's no discomfort so that you can relax. This final pose is this final gift that we offer ourselves. This opportunity to experience what it feels like to be in a relaxed state. So sometimes you might need to shift a little bit, wiggle, but then eventually you settle. And settling is kind of like a gradual thing. We don't settle instantly. It takes a little time to settle. We give ourselves some time and space to settle in. We give ourselves this time and space to allow the body to relax. Layer by layer. Slowly, gradually. Little by little. The body softening. Opening. Unclenching, ungripping, relaxing, letting go. Head heavy. All the muscles of the face softening as well. Smoothing, releasing, relaxing, and letting go. Resting here, body and mind. As you continue lying back, I'm just going to share a reading with you from Dana Falls. She says, if I knew that everything I believed and more was true, what would I do? I'd wake up and let life take me as its own. I'd point at fear and say, you're not real. I'd say this kindly. I wouldn't forget that I am linked to every flower, fox, fantasy, and planet. I've let love in, And each day I'd stretch a little more until I could embrace the whole horizon. I'd sip green tea and savor the taste of oatmeal raisin cookies. I'd welcome whatever came next and know that love can change me if I let it. So you might want to continue lying back. You might want to start to transition, bring your feet to the floor. You might gently roll to your side and take a few moments there to transition. As you make your way up to sitting, might be nice to close out your practice with a few moments of quiet reflection, spirit of prayer, gratitude, whatever calls you. Let's close out this practice this morning with one last opportunity to offer ourselves love and appreciation for all that we have and all that we are. Thank you for being here this morning. Peace.